Hey everyone, this is lesson 6, level 7, choosing our own adventures by working in the string class. We're going to practice using the methods in the string class. We're probably going to use substring or index of or compare to as we try to build out these methods. I think it would be easier. I've got a completed customer reviews one that I worked on earlier this morning. Might be easier just to go through that, the completed one, to kind of walk you through it. I'll do spell checker then later, and then we'll do word processor and email extractor kind of together in class. We'll kind of work through those over a couple days. So let's go and take a look at this customer reviews and see what it is about. So let me zoom in on this a little bit. Ah, yes, that's much easier. So overall, what we're wanting to do is there's an array list that has some reviews and we are searching for words in the reviews. So let me explain that in a little more slowly. In the Marketing Runner class, we have an array list of string objects called reviews. And what we are doing is to the reviews list, we are adding these string elements. So if, for example, this string element goes at index 0, this one will go at index 1, this one will go at index 2, this one will go at index 3, and this one will go at index number 4. So what we're going to do is when I run this, you can see what the output looks like. So this is just where I printed out the result of the methods that we made. So the method is called the count words method, and we were searching for the word great in the reviews. And what I did is I just printed out the counts. Now there's another method in the marketing class that is called results to string. That method is already there. You do not need to create that. It takes the word you are searching for, and it takes like the list that we created. So it takes this list and essentially it just pretty prints it, if you will. Now you'll notice, you might not notice yet, but there are two instances of the word great in that first review. But let's look at this a little more closely. I see one great here, great number 2, but at the end there's a third great. So why did it only return true? And the problem is, and it's okay, the test will still run. It does not pick up, our algorithm doesn't pick up this great because there is an exclamation point right after it. So that's not the word great. That is the word great followed by an exclamation point right there after it. There's not a space. We are looking for greats, the word great, that has a space before it and a space after it. This has a space before it, but it has an exclamation point after it. And so that works in a couple of these other ones as well. So for example, there are 2 greats in this third one, but I'm fairly certain there's 1 great, there's another great, and there's another great. So there's actually 3 greats in there, but this great is followed by a period. That period is a part of the string. So we are using the space to kind of separate the chunks, the word chunks, but we probably could do a little bit more to get a better count. Probably should, but this passes the test. So that is doing what they expect it to do. And just keep that in mind, though, that the string great is a great that is surrounded by spaces. Now let's go to the marketing class. And here is our private instance variable. It's an array list of string objects that is called reviews. We saw that in the marketing runner class. Here is the constructor. That's a marketing object that takes that array list of string reviews. So that's what happened back over here on this side. So when I created they created a marketing company, it was the new marketing company that had that reviews as an input parameter. Here is the method that we need to create. So first off, we have to create a new array list to contain the counts for each review. So what I did is I created an array list that is going to accept integer objects, and I called it counts. And this is simply a new array list ready to take the integer objects. I don't need to specify a length for it because I can just add things willy-nilly to an array list. That is kind of the cool thing. And then what I'm going to do is I'm getting ready to traverse the reviews array where each element in that array is a big long sentence. And then I am going to increment my count because I'm counting the number of words in each review. So every time I go to the next review, I need to reset my count back to 0. This is going to be my current review. So in other words, when I start out the first time through this loop, I am in the review at index I. So I'm getting that review at index 0. And then I am initializing a space, and that is for the while loop. I'm initializing an integer, a primitive integer value called space. And what that is doing is that is taking the current review that I'm in, and it is finding the index of the space. So that is the first space that occurs. So when I go back over yonder, this is 0, 1, 2, 3, and here is 4. So that first value of space will be 4 because that is the index of the first space. And if you recall back, what we'll do is we will see if this word matches the target word, and then we will redefine the current review to go from this product to the end. And then we'll find the index of this space, and we will use it to help me check that word. And then we will redefine the current word to go from is all the way to the end. So we'll just keep doing that in that while loop. And so while the value of the space is positive, because if it is not positive, there is no space. And what happens is when I get to the end of the string, there is a quote there. There is no space there at the end. There is a quote, and that's the end of the string. So I guess it's possible that I could have mistyped something and put a space in there, but these do not have spaces, and it's not going to work like that on the AP exam. So while the space is greater than 0, I'm creating this string object that is called current word, and it is the current review. And for right now, the first time through the loop, I'm at that review 0. I'm creating a substring that goes from the very start of the string up to where the space is, but not including the space. So that's how I get this. So this would be 0, 4 for that first review, but it does not include 4. So it takes out index 0, 1, 2, and 3, which is that word this. So if that current word string method equals the word defined, if that does, I'm going to increment the count by 1. If it doesn't, if the current word doesn't, nothing's going to happen there. Now I go to the next step. I redefine my current review to be the current review from wherever that substring was, and I'm using the space index, which is 4 plus 1, which is 5. So if I go back here, that first space is 4, that P has an index of 5. So I'm redefining my current review to start at this word now and go to the end. And then I'm revaluing that space variable to be my new current review, the index of whatever that space is. So when I'm in this new review, I start over again, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the space has an index of 7. And so what I am doing is I will then go back through, that's the parenthesis or the curly brace for the while loop. I will keep going through this. I keep redefining my current review, keep redefining my space. Now, if you recall, and I remember Wyatt called this out, it misses the last word. So what we do, we end up with a spot where this value doesn't exist. So this current review index of is actually going to return the value -1, and it will not do anything. In other words, this loop will stop, but then we'll never redefine the current word. We'll never see this current word again. So we're missing the word at the very end. So if our current review equals word defined, because we've defined it, we've defined our current review, but we don't do anything with it. If that happens to equal the word defined, we're going to increment the count. And then we're going to add, after we go through all this stuff, we are going to add that value of count to the counts list that we created at the very top. And then we repeat this again. We go back to this for loop. We reinitialize our count to 0. We create a new current review string, and we have a new primitive int value for the space. And we go through the while loop again. We keep kind of taking away the first word, redefining the string, getting a new value for space. And we keep doing that over and over again. And then down here at the bottom, this is the method that is called results to string. That gives you like that pretty print that prints it down that like it goes the number of occurrences of the word defined, which was great for me, and then it gives you a new line, and then we just keep adding the counts from that list, and that's how you get that pretty print. So a lot of moving parts. All right, but bear with it, keep working on it, and we'll try a couple of these in class this week.